we'll chant Om 3 times and follow the invocation shlokas. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Hey, welcome back. I was just looking at when we met last. It was almost like more than 2 months ago. Um, our last meeting was on November 6th. So today is January 8th. So we had a big amount of gap,
Yes.
mostly because of my schedule was a little bit tougher this month, in the last couple of months. So I apologize. So hopefully, like the rest of this 2026, we will have continued schedule without any much interruption.
How's your father doing, Venkat?
He's doing
He
good.
recovered?
Yeah, yeah. So in chapter 3, we are covering chapter 3 of Karma Yoga, right? So in Karma Yoga, we started off with, just as a reminder, we started off with Arjuna's question that Bhagavan, in chapter 2, you're talking about the greatness of this Jnana Yoga. If Jnana Yoga is so much great, why are you asking me to do this karma, which appears to be very terrible? I'm a little bit confused. Please help me. When that question was asked, Bhagavan said that, see Arjuna, there are two paths in this. One is called as Karma Yoga, which is followed by Karma Yogis. Path of Karma followed by Karma Yogis, and Path of Jnana followed by the Jnana Yogis. I think you are ready for Karma Yoga. So that means that you don't have Adhikara for Jnana Yoga yet. And these are not two different paths, but it is one path with different milestones. So the very first milestone we have to reach is to become little bit what you call like mature with Karma Yoga before we start the Jnana Yoga. Because Jnana Yoga typically is considered as absence of Karma Yoga. Absence of Karma Yoga needs to be understood thoroughly. Before you get to that point, you have to make yourself ready for that. And becoming ready for this, if you're not prepared well, you cannot perform Jnana Yoga perfectly, because Jnana Yoga, it doesn't mean that you are not doing anything, because this body, we cannot sit even for a second without performing karmas. So, in case if someone thinks that I can control my body and I won't do anything and they sit quietly, it is possible that you are not doing any action actively, but the mind is running around all over. So, in that case, whatever we think that we are doing is nothing but mithyachara, meaning hypocrisy. That is what Bhagavan says. And even if I think that I am not doing anything, there are a lot of karmas that are being performed within this body. That is part of it. And this body also would let us sit quietly either, because when we have this body, body would need food, body would had to go through its excretory things. So all of that also constitute karma only. So, uh, Bhagwan, Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda ji says, when you stop performing karma, when one really stops performing karma, they will give, others have to perform karma on their behalf. Four people have to come, pack up that body and take to funeral grounds. So, okay, so that is how this body is. So we have to perform the karma all the time. So now, when you perform, that said, how is this karma yoga must be performed is we must perform this action for the sake of yajna. Okay? And so perform action, whatever karmas we perform, we should be done as yajnartha. That is what it is said. So when Bhagavan said that, we had discussed in detail about five different types of yajnas: Deva yajna, Brahma yajna, Pitru yajna, Manushya yajna, and Bhuta yajna. Deva yajna is taking care of ecology all around us. Brahma yajna is study of our scriptures and values, implementing those values and passing it on. Okay, that is the Brahma yajna. Pitru yajna is remembering the culture that is passed to us from our ancestors and passing it on to our progeny. Nru yajna is taking care of people all around us, and Bhuta yajna is taking care of all other beings, non-living, like non-humans also, right? So that would be all jivas, animals, plants, etc., all around us. So all of these Pancha Mahayajnas must be performed on a daily basis. This is all we have seen. And Bhagavan said that this, at the time of creation, Brahmaji, Prajapati, he told that we must all perform karma yoga as a yajna, with the spirit of yajna, and we must fulfill each other's desires. Meaning, like, when we take care of others, others will take care of us. Now, why did Brahmaji come into picture? Is that Brahmaji, our Prajapati, was the firstborn, and he is the creator of all. That means that he is the father of all of us. Now, when a will is written by our parents, what we do is we follow that will. Now, he is the creator of all of us, so he's the father of for all of us. So we must follow his will.
Oh,
Okay. So that is why the Prajapati, suddenly Prajapati is brought into the picture. Okay, and we fulfill, and then there are like more thoughts that are going on between we fulfilling the uh, needs of devas, and devas will take care of us. Okay. And then it is said that annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhava. Then there is a cycle of uh, this karma, and karma phala is explained. How annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhava yajnat bhavati parjanyah yajna karma samudbhava karma brahmodbhavam siddhi brahmaksharam samudbhavam tasma sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishthitam. He said annad bhavanti bhutani. See, from annam, from food, all these jivas come. How does the annam come? Annam means food come. It comes because of Parjanya. Parjanya means rain. And rain comes because of yajna. And yajna is performed, yajna happens because of karma. Now, what is the relationship between performance of yajna and rain? It's a kind of like a difficult visual to understand. So understand that when rain comes, who is benefited? When rain comes, everybody is benefited. Okay? From the king to the pauper to the farmer, everyone is benefited because of rain, because there is enough water, and because of that water, the food grows, etc. But there's also drinking water is there, the whole lakes, etc. They are all filled. So it is not just humans that are benefited, but even the animals are benefited, etc. Everything in nature is benefited because of this rain. And this benefit is not, oh, okay, you are Brahmana, so only you can benefit from this rain, or that kind of, you are a good person, so only you can benefit from this rain. That kind of thing is not there. And this rain happens because of yajna. That means what? When we perform yajna, okay, in a yajna, what is happening is that everybody is putting their effort to do something great. When they put their effort, a common effort for something great, then the yajna happens. And the results, when they come for all. Think about a simple example. No matter how much rich you are, you cannot pave a road to your home. I mean, like you may be able to pave driveway or walkway, but not the entire roads in the thing. Okay. But what you do is that all of us, we pay taxes with the intent of what? With a greater, for the sake of greater good. Whatever taxes we pay is for the greater good, right? Now, when we pay taxes, when roads are paved, or whatever action the government takes, right, that is that is enjoyed by all citizens, ideally, right? So here what happened is that there is a greater good, and the greater result came because of a yajna where my in my goal or my vision is higher than my individual needs. When that thought process is there, from that yajna, there is rain has come. So yajnat bhavati parjanyaha. And that yajna is possible because of karma yoga. So therefore, we must perform karma uh, completely. Okay, karma yoga properly. And Bhagwan says that whoever doesn't perform this karma properly, meaning whoever is not doing this karma But what is happening? But he is gaining the benefits of others' help, but on their own they are not contributing, then they are as good as thieves. Okay? So he says, Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati haya aghayurindriyaramah mogham partha sajivati. So, therefore, everyone must perform karma yoga. That's what he says. And then, whenever we make a rule, there is always an exception. And that exception was what covered in the 17th verse. It said that yastvamas atma ratireva syat atma truptasya namaha atmanyeva cha santushta tasya karya na vidyate. There is an exception for this great Mahatma who is content within himself, by himself. So, in that case, for such great Mahatma, he doesn't need to participate in this cycle of karma. Now, it doesn't mean that he is not going to participate. Please understand that he's not like he's not participating. It is just that he doesn't need to participate, he or she. Why? Anytime we are participating in anything, that means what? Who is participating? I am participating. So when there's I is involved, that means jivatva is involved. When there's a jivatva is involved, a participation is required. Now for this Mahatma, there is no more jivatva. He is jivan mukta. So there is no jiva is there, because of which there's no need for performance of any type of karma. However, we notice that so many Jivan Muktas, they all participate in this cycle of karma. Take Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji. How many Jnana Yajnas he has done? Right? This Gita Jnana Yajnas, I think he has done like 400 plus Gita Jnana Yajnas, meaning like he has covered Bhagavad Gita about 400 plus times in discourses. Right? So that is the level of, and why did they do? They don't need to do anything, but they are doing it for Loka Kalyana. That is also we are going to see in upcoming verses. So this is what we have covered so far. So we'll start with the next shloka, 18th shloka. And if you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, we'll start the 18th shloka. So I'll break down the 18th shloka, then word by word breakdown, and then we will chant. Naiva, that is na eva is naiva, tasya krutenartho, that is krutena, and arthaha together becomes krutenarthaha, and with the sandhi afterwards it becomes krutenartho. Okay. Na kruteneha, so that is na akrutena iha, together becomes na kruteneha kaschana, na chasya, cha and asya together, chasya sarva bhuteshu, two words in sarva bhuteshu, kaschidas artha vyapashayaha. So that is three words are there, kaschit artha vyapashayaha. So this is the breakdown of the words. So one of you please go off mute, unmute yourself, and please repeat after me. नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः
नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः
नाकृतेनेह कश्चन
नाकृतेनेह कश्चन
न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु
न चस्य सर्वभूतेषु
न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु
न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु
कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः.
कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः.
So now the question is that why is this exemption made? Okay? Why is this exemption made? What is the specialty of this that is being described here? Tasya means for such person. What is the such person? Who the jnani that is described in the previous shloka. How is the jnani described in the previous shloka? यस्त्वा आत्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्य न विद्यते. That is how it is described. So the words that were used was आत्मतृप्तः, one who is content with himself, Atmasantushtah, one who is happy with himself, Atmarati, one who is reveling in himself, that jnani, that tasya. Now, iha, okay, iha means here, okay, in this world. Now, in this world means what? When we say iha in this world, this is where world is what loka. Loka, the root word for loka is look. And the meaning of look is same as English word look. Okay, wherever you are able to look, that is loka.
Oh.
Okay, wherever you are able to look means what? Your realm of experience is loka. Now, for us to have realm of experience, I should be there. Okay, so where the individuality is there as I am, then what happens is that the injunctions of the Shastra apply. The lists of to-dos and lists of not to do. That Shastra Vidhi and Shastra Nishedha, they both apply. So the Shastra, why is Shastra regulating me? Because there is individuality. So in the individuality, in this what happens? When I have individuality, there is a triputi. The triputi is me and the experienced and the relationship between me and experienced. So I am there, Loka is there. Loka is experienced by me and there's a relationship between me and this Loka as the experiencer and experienced as experience. So this triputi is there. Okay. So now, because I am an individual, what happened? I see a jnani and I treat the other a jnani as other individual. But my world, like what we studied in chapter 2 towards end is that Yanisha Sarva Bhuteshu. Okay. So what we studied is that my world of perception is Nisha for this Mahatma, darkness, and his world of knowledge is dark for me, Nisha for me, because me as individual and a Jnani, we both in reality live in different realms, even though we are in the same world. Because of that, na eva tasya krutenatha. So, for such a jnani, there's no purpose of doing anything. See, I may have some notions about all jnani. So, this jnani, if he's jnani, he must do something. So, like, sometimes people do have these thoughts. What kind of thoughts? Swami Chinmayananda ji, he taught everywhere. He went everywhere. But Ramana Maharshi ji did not move at all. So, if Ramana Maharshi is a jnani, if what he did is right, then Swami Chinmayananda ji is not jnani. Or if Swami Chinmayananda ji is jnani and he taught everyone, okay, then Ramana Maharshi ji did not lift his finger. He was just sitting there, and if someone goes and asks him, he answers some questions, so he is not jnani. Okay, so what are these? These are our ajnanis thoughts. Okay, so who is right, who is not right? There's no such thing as Swami Chinmayananda ji is right or Ramana Maharshi ji is right. Both are right. So as a jnani, they don't have to do anything, and each jnani, out of their compassion, they lift up the world in different ways, and we cannot judge. We are not in a position to judge or even understand how they are participating or like how they are uplifting this world. We don't have a clue. Okay, so that's why what don't we may have some like weird notions of these Mahatmas that they must be doing different type of upasanas, etc. But for jnanis, there's no purpose. In reality, there's no jnani there. Just like there's no individuality, there's no jnani also. All that is there when you think of about Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda ji or Ravana Maharshi ji or anything, that body is an empty shell because there is no jivatva, there is no individuality. Okay, so na krutena iha kaschana. Now, when we perform something, either we gain something or we lose something. Okay, whether we perform some action or we don't perform some action. Now, for a jnani though, by performing or not performing anything, they don't gain anything or they don't lose anything. Why? Because they have gained infinite. Adding one or subtracting one from infinity doesn't make any difference. Whereas adding one or subtracting one from a finite number, like maybe 100, okay, that makes sense. So that means that as a individual, as a limited being, okay, it makes difference to me, but there's no difference. It doesn't make any difference to that akhanda, ananta. Okay, so those are some uh, attributes we can say about this jnani. Nachasya sarvabhuteshu. Now, the thing is that you and I, we all are dependent on other jivas in one way or other. Whereas these Mahatmas, they are not dependent on any other being, whether it is Brahmaji or Vishnu Bhagwan or Shivji, it doesn't matter. They are not dependent on everything, on anything, meaning that body is there, body is dependent on air, etc. Body is like breathing air, body is drinking water, body is eating food, body is walking, etc. But because there is no individuality, who is there to dependent on anyone else? So this is not there. Okay. So then this identification, because this absence of identification of the body, or identification of the body or anything like that, individuality, because of that, they are exempted. So it's actually like in this context, um, our teacher Swami Advainandaji gave an anecdote from the life of Swami Vidyaranya. Swami Vidyaranya ji, he wrote, like one of the texts that his text that we studied is Dugdusha Viveka, and he was also part of the reason for the establishment of the Vijayanagara Empire.
Oh.
Okay, so it is said that when you actually chant, Punascharana means chanting, okay, like in a particular manner, chanting for like some X number of, like some few lakhs of times of chanting Gayatri mantra. So he did a Punascharana of Gayatri Devi, but the Mother Gayatri did not appear in front of him. So it is said that he got Vairagya. The mother is not appearing, so he renounced. And when he was in a deep contemplation, one day, Mother Gayatri appeared and asked him for a boon. And he was, he didn't want any boon, he refused. And she insisted that he must take a boon. Then I think probably he was a little bit annoyed. So he asked, why didn't she appear in past when he was doing Punascharana? So she told that had he appeared back then, he wouldn't have become a great Mahatma. So he didn't want any boon, but Mother Gayatri herself gave him a boon that he would write a great book towards the end of his life, which will become very popular. And after that, he wrote the book Panchadashi. So Panchadashi is also a book that some of you either must have studied, either all of it or few chapters. Right? So these Mahatmas, they don't need anything. Okay? And if they accept something that you give, it is just that you are blessed for them for accepting it. And Ishvara Bhagwan uses these Mahatmas for his work, and they do wonders. Okay, so that is why when a great Mahatma, when you see, now the thing is that, like, okay, so I want to what you call, like, I want to be blessed by such great Mahatmas. So where can I find those Mahatmas? Okay. I want the real ones, okay, not the what you call, like, not the ones who are in that path. I don't care about them. I want to know those Mahatmas who have actually attained. Don't have that kind of illusion. Whoever is walking in that path, any Mahatma whoever is walking on that path, whether they attained this final thing where they lost their Jivatva and they became Jivan Mukta or not, first of all, we won't be able to recognize because we are not qualified. And when someone is walking in that path, whether they reached the destination or did not reach the destination doesn't matter. Even if they have started walking in that path, in this what is this book? Yoga Vasishta. So Yoga Vasishta has 64,000 shlokas. The Puja Guruji from Tejomanandaji, what he did is, because he's studying 64,000 shlokas in depth and understanding in its entirety completely and living through it is going to be very difficult. Puja Guruji, what he did was that he wrote a book called Yoga Vasishta Sara Sangraha. And in this, what he did is for 64,000, he took, out of those 64,000, he took 64 shlokas. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, and he called it the Yoga Vasishta, the essence of Yoga Vasishta. And in one of those Yoga Vasishta, it is called as, how there are path to attain moksha. The path to attain moksha has got about 7 steps. Okay, the very first step is called Shubhecha. Shubhecha, Icha means desire. Shubha means auspicious. Auspicious desire. That means the very fact, the very desire that I want moksha itself is a step, first step, and you are blessed with moksha. Now, the moment you have the desire that I want to get moksha, you are going to get it. Only thing is that now the question is time, the matter of time. Okay, so now these Mahatmas, I'm saying this is that these Mahatmas, whoever is walking on that path, whether they are 10 lives away from moksha or 10 minutes away from moksha, we don't know. But understand that this Mahatma has proper vairagya and walking in the right path. So given that, we must support such great Mahatma in whatever way we can. And if that Mahatma is able to take something from us, that is our punya. So have that kind of a thought whenever you see a Mahatma. Okay? So that is something that I would say. Nakaschidhartha vyapashayaha. So in reality, they don't need any support of any sort from anybody. Because for these jnanis, their mind is fully established in the reality of Advaita. And when the mind is absorbed in the Advaita, they have conquered the entire universe. Because what is there? Brahman alone is there, and there's nothing other than Brahman. There's no, and disregarding Ishvara, rather, when they see the entire universe as mirage, then there's nothing for them to do with this mirage and its workings. Now, if such a person doesn't even have individuality, there's nothing for them to do with this mirage or the substratum of the mirage. So this so this is where there is no iha, kruta, akruta, sarva bhuteshu, artha, bhashaya. None of these are there for such a jnani, so there's no universe there for them. Okay. So
Can you go through all of the 7 steps real quickly?
I suddenly remembered that I don't recall all 7.
Okay.
I can we can cover it next week.
And next time, yeah, sure.
Okay. So with that, so as Swamiji was saying, like thinking about Brahman, etc. What happens is that, like in physics, we know 3 dimensions, right? We all like three dimensions, and we call time as the 4th dimension. Now, like let us say when other dimensions are added, like 5th dimension, 6th, or even 10th dimension, what are those dimensions are beyond my comprehension. So in the nature of Brahman and Jnani is also beyond my comprehension. So don't ever try to judge or understand a Jnani other than doing a Namaskara. Okay? So with that, now after talking about this Jnanis, why they are exempt, now Bhagavan is coming back to telling us Okay. What is the with what action, with what attitude we must perform our karmas. Okay, so that is covering in shloka number 19. So before we go to 19, do you have any questions on what we discussed so far?
Let's explain, actually.
I was trying to understand, as you said, these Jivan Muktas. I'm taking example of, Gurudev, who did so much, and he traveled all over the world, gave discourses, wrote books, created all the missions, but I'm also trying to understand his personal life in terms of his health issues, and that he needed a lot of interventions over the course of time, including cardiac surgery and so on. I'm reading his Mannam series, which is on tennis, Love All. It's a beautiful book. And so here is a little bit of a dichotomy in the sense that he had to take care of his personal situation also at the jiva level, in terms of, even though, he was realized and he had no separation. He was with Brahman anyway. He was Brahman himself. But there was this element of, he was told not to eat sweets, and then he would indulge in, eating sweets from time to time, and whatever doctors, he would go out and he was restricted from not talking, not being engaged in any kind of exertional activities. But he would, after getting some, treatment, he would go and start giving his discourses. No, my point is, he still had to take care of his jiva as a jiva. As long as he was still around, he was not beyond his personal jivata was still had to be managed, right?
Yeah. So we say that you understand the concepts of karma phala, like a prarabdha karma, sanchita karma, agami karma, etc. Right, Chanjit?
Sure.
Yeah. So what happens is that we all have some sanchita karma. Sanchita karma is the results of all actions that we performed in all our lives, which are waiting to be fructified. And all of them cannot be fructified in any individual life. So a portion of that is taken and given to assign to this body. And with that assignment, this body is born. That assigned karma for this lifetime is called as prarabdha karma. Now, this prarabdha karma is like an arrow that has left the bow. So that means there's no stopping midway. It has to hit the target. So this prarabdha karma that is assigned to this body, the body has to undergo all of that prarabdha karma, whether body gets, meaning whether the jiva gets jivan mukta or not, jivan mukti or not. Okay. Even if the person doesn't get jivan mukti, even if the jiva doesn't get jivan mukti, the moment prarabdha karma is complete, the body is going to fall down and the jiva has to find out another body and continue with other set of prarabdha karma. If the jiva happens to get the jivan mukti somewhere in between, the body still has to continue to its conclusion. Okay. Now, what happens to this body is whether I take care of this body or not, it doesn't matter. What I do with this body or not doesn't matter. Only when the prarabdha karma is complete, that is when this body is going to fall down. This is understood by, of course, students of Vedanta, not just students of Vedanta, but of course by these jnanis. Now, when they understand this, they are neither denying anything to this body, this physical body, nor indulging this body. Okay. So at a physical level, they are bound to do whatever that is supposed to be done for this physical body to take care of this body. That is one point. At the same level, from a personal relationships perspective, etc., also, even though there is they don't have individuality, the body has a relationship with the mother body, father body, or sister body, or whatever that is. So there are certain responsibilities that are to be taken care of, and those responsibilities are taken care of. If you recall, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, even though he's a Jivan Mukta Purusha, he gives a boon or promise, he makes a promise to his mother that when she needs him, she should call him and he will come. Now, he is somewhere in India, of course, Akhanda Bharat at that time, and she was at her last stage, and she called for him, and he immediately came there, and he was there for her. What is it called? Like last moments, and performed the responsibilities as son. Okay, that is something that even though his Jivan Mukta he did. Similarly, Bhagwan Lord Krishna, Yashoda, Mother Yashoda is not his birth mother. Devaki was the one. And he grew in Gokulam until age of 9 or 10. Right? So when he did perform Rasalila, etc., unlike some pictures where like modern artists, they draw him as a youthful personality with maybe like 20 or 25 years old person dancing with multiple girls. His age was under 10 years when he performed Raslila.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Okay. And after Rasalila, he went to Mathura, and that is where uh, Kamsa was died, because he actually did not kill Kamsa. The moment he jumped in front of Kamsa, Kamsa got a massive heart stroke and he died. And and then after that, he never went to Vrindavan at all, or Vrindavan or that place at all. However, he did give a boon to Mother Yashoda that he will come back once. And as a Bhagwan also, he went to see Mother Yashoda once, after all of that. Okay. So the thing is that as a Bhagwan doesn't have mother or father. And he knows his Bhagwan nature, right? His nature. And yet, he has performed his duties as needed. So the performance of duties of whether Bhagwan or a Brahmajnani, we cannot easily comprehend or
Distinguish.
question. Okay, so that is the thing. So all it is that again, as we were saying, right, that is a little bit beyond our understanding. It doesn't mean like, we are not saying that we don't know. I mean, like we're not saying that we should not question. That is not the thing.
Mm.
But the reality is simple, right? So for five of us are here right now. Okay. Now, what is happening is that all of us are here, and what is the intent and what are the thoughts that are going in each of our heads as we are speaking or listening to this is completely unknown to others. Right? We may appear interested, but we may not be interested. Or we may appear disinterested, but we may be interested. Okay. And what is causing for us to come here and sit is also, we don't know. Okay. And sometimes forget about others. We don't know why we are there here. Okay. So when it is so difficult to understand what is going on in the heads of people around us, how can we know what is going on with a person who doesn't have a mind? Right? So that is the challenge. So that is why it is said that we cannot really understand. That's all. Okay. So now, again, it is said that in Atmabodha, it is said that a, a Jivan Mukta Purusha is what you call, is analogous to a pot. Okay. Imagine there's a pot. And within this pot, a small lamp is lit. And the pot is covered with a lid. Now, when the lid is covered, usually like technically the light will go off
Oh,
because lack of air. Okay. But now let us say if that light is still there. Now, is that light visible outside a pot? I mean, we did not make any holes into the pot. A pot, there's a light in the pot and it is covered. Okay. Can you see the light? We can't. So, who knows that there is light in the pot? Only the pot alone knows. Okay. And who else knows is another pot like that. So, whether a person is Jivan Mukta or not a person, right, is known by only by other Jivan Mukta. Okay. So, this is what is said about Jivan Mukta. And the nature of this Jivan Mukta, how they appear, that is told in Bhajagovindam in one of the shlokas where they said that Balaratova, no, sometimes they may appear as Bala. I mean, like childlike. Child as in like not like age child. Okay, they appear like childish. Okay, so their behavior is all childish and sometimes they are like pishacha. Now pishacha is like a ghost. Okay, which is not visible and they are. Sometimes they are like a beggars, some wandering in the forest, etc. Sometimes they may appear as the great Mahatmas, right? Like the ones we know, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji or Ramana Maharshi ji, etc. And so, like this, uh, their appearances are different. Their every Jivan Mukta, there are no two Jivan Muktas are like that is the point that is said. Okay, so then like there's a Janaka Maharaj who was a king, and yet he was a Jivan Mukta, and yet he was ruling the kingdom. So this is how the Jivan Muktas are all different. And we cannot really understand because of they belong to a different domain than us. Now, the question though is that how, because if I don't know a Jivan Mukta, and how do I differentiate between a fraud and a real Jivan Mukta? That we cannot really differentiate, and the our shastras say that whether we get to in the company of association or in the association of a fraud or a Jivan Mukta or someone who is walking on the path to become Jivan Mukta, it is all dependent on us and what is our what are our true thoughts and what are our true intentions and those will guide us to in one way or other way. So if our intent is clean and pure, whoever we meet is going to take us to our spiritual evolution. That is have that type of faith. So I'll pause here to see if you have any follow-up questions.
No, I now remember that Agami karma and Sanchit karma can be, I mean, when you achieve the Jivan Mukta, then they get washed out, but not the Pralab karma. You have to live through them, yes.
Exactly.
Now this is interesting because we are still so limited, and obviously our imagination goes so far, and we get curious, and again it is.
Yeah.
I know we have to keep reminding ourselves back to square one. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Tattva Bodha says that what happens to see the thing is that the karma is neither created or can never be destroyed. Right? So they have cleansed. When a Jivan Mukta is there, they have cleansed all their papas. Yes, okay. But in their the rest of the Sanchita karma, rest of the Agami karma, what happens to that? When that question comes, the Tattvabodha says that those people who hurt this Jivan Mukta Purusha, okay, they will get all the papas of that Jivan Mukta, and all the punyas of that Jivan Mukta will be assigned to the devotees of this Jivan Mukta. Now that's kind of like seems a little bit when I first heard that, I thought it was incredulous. Okay. I mean, how can that be? Like, what did just because these guys did something wrong, they are going to be assigned all their papas between these few people who did wrong to this person. But the reality is that if someone has done something wrong to a pious person, that means that they must be wronging so many other people also. So all the papas, previous papas of this Jivan Mukta Mahatma are assigned to them. And someone who is devoted, not out of fear or out of a desire to gain something from him or her, but rather with the intent of walking in that path, they are blessed with the punya, the merits that are still there, that were there to that jiva, those are assigned to these people. So it gives them strength, additional strength to move forward in the path and then attain realization sooner than later. Okay.
Well, see, Brahman in everyone, then there is no problem. If we can reach that level, that will take care of everything. see oneness in all of us, and no separation, and that's the ultimate. But there's always you and me, I and you, I and mine, you and yours. What can we do?
So we'll conclude now.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell, I won't be here in 2 weeks. We are traveling. Hopefully, I hope we will, but I will be back first part of February, so I can attend the next one. Not the next one, the following one.
Actually, I wanted to ask because we missed so many sessions. Can we do continually every week? subject to cancellations here and there.
We have no problem.
So yeah, please let me know, and then I'll set up a poll or something like that, and in our group, and we'll move forward with that.
Okay.
So we'll conclude. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्
Hari Om.
Thanks everyone.
Everybody,
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Good night.
bye bye.